Welcome to the Chad Slagle Show, coaching you to and through retirement, where planning meets purpose. Chad Slagle isn't just a financial professional, he's a coach dedicated to helping you take control of your financial future. With years of experience guiding families towards secure and fulfilling retirements, Chad is here to empower you with the tools, strategies, and confidence to make smart decisions with your hard-earned dollars. Coaching you to and through retirement isn't just his promise, it's his passion. This is the Chad Slagle Show. Now, let's hear from the coach.
Welcome back in here with the coach, Chad Slagle. Good to be with you.
Good to be with you, Amy.
Got a big topic today, the cost of retirement. Let me set the scene for our viewers really quickly. One of the biggest questions people ask as they get closer to retirement is how much does it really cost to retire? Today, we're going to break that down and talk about some things most people don't always talk about. And Chad is here once again. It's great to be with you. When many people think about retirement, they've maybe heard that you have to have 70 to 80% of what you made pre-retirement in order to, of income, in order to kind of make it through retirement. And you say you don't necessarily agree with this. Why so?
Well, first of all, one of the biggest fears people have heading into retirement, Amy, is very simply, am I going to be okay? And do I have enough to retire? And there's this old rule of thumb that says you need to have 70 to 80% of your pre-retirement income when you retire coming in. So in other words, if you're making $100,000 a year, that means you should have $70,000 to $80,000 a year coming in. I completely disagree with that today. What we see with most of our clients is they don't need the same amount or even more income in retirement because retirement today is not about slowing down, it's about living, and living costs money.
And why is that?
Well, we talk on this show all the time. What day of the week do you spend the most money?
Probably Saturday for me.
Exactly. And when you're working, Monday through Friday is pretty routine. You get up, go to work, come home, have dinner, go to bed, and do it all over again. You're not spending a lot of money during the week. But on the weekends, you go out to eat, you go to the movies, maybe you golf, hunt, fish, travel, whatever your hobbies are, you're spending on experiences. You're spending on family, you're spending on memories. And here's the key, when you retire, every day is Saturday. So retirement isn't about replacing a paycheck, it's about funding a lifestyle. And if you build a plan around a shrunken lifestyle, you're not going to retire to something, you're retiring from something.
It really shifts the way that we start to think about it. Now, I've heard you, Chad, say a great example before when it comes to explaining costs in retirement, this whole idea of wholesale versus retail. Share this story and what this means.
Well, absolutely. Imagine you're going to go buy a new car or truck and you pull into the dealership lot and there are hundreds of trucks to choose from or cars. So you walk around for a while and when you finally stop in front of one you like, the salesperson walks up, shows you the price on the window, and that's the sticker price. That's what we call retail. Now, let me ask you a question, Amy. Are you going to pay retail price for that car?
Probably not. That's the ultimate goal.
Right. So you go inside, sit down, and negotiate to get as close as possible to the invoice price. That's what we call wholesale. Here's the important part. Whether you pay retail or wholesale for that car or truck, you're going to drive the exact same vehicle home. The difference is education. And it's the same with your retirement. A lot of people are paying retail prices, high fees, unnecessary taxes, and poor positioning without even realizing there's a wholesale way to do it. Retirement costs change drastically when you understand what you're paying and why. You can own the same investments. The difference is how efficiently are they structured. And over the next 20 to 30 years, that difference can be massive. We're talking hundreds of thousands of dollars.
If the 80% rule isn't necessarily the place to start, where do we begin?
Well, that's where our Slagle Financial GPS comes in. Retirement is not about guessing. It's not about rules of thumb. It's about clarity. We come back, I'll walk you through step by step through how we use the financial GPS to figure out what retirement really costs and how to build a plan that lasts.
It's all about this idea of winning in retirement. And I think a lot of times it's not the finish line. It's just the start, really, of this new phase called retirement.
Yeah, a lot of people think retirement is the end, but it is a new beginning with retirement. And the thing is, you have to have clarity. You have to have clarity on what kind of lifestyle do you want to have in retirement? What kind of income do you have to have coming in to support that lifestyle? And then once you know that, then you can figure out how much income do we need coming in to support that lifestyle and exactly where that income is going to come from, and when do we need to turn that income on, and where's it going to come from?
And you're answering this question every single day at Slagle Financial. People are coming into you every day, I imagine, saying, how much is this going to cost? And like you said at the beginning of this segment, will I be okay?
Yeah, retirement is a very scary thing. I mean, you think about this when you're young, you go to work, you get a job, and you got this paycheck coming in for 30, 40 years. Then all of a sudden you retire and you're going to live another 30 to 40 years and they're telling you you're going to be okay. It's a very scary thing. So it's a scary thing, but if you have everything structured properly, as far as where your money's going to come from, how long is it going to last, hopefully the rest of your life, then it becomes a thing that really is not so scary anymore. And when you have clarity, retirement can be a fun thing to enjoy, not a scary thing.
Yeah, we're all programmed to work, but that retirement fun sounds a lot better.
Absolutely.
Okay, this is a perfect place to pause. When we return, we'll break down the Slagle Financial GPS. We talked about that. We'll tell you how it helps turn uncertainty into confidence. Stay with us. The Chad Slagle Show continues right after this.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
Hi, I'm Chad Slagle. At Slagle Financial, we know retirement isn't one size fits all, and it shouldn't feel like guesswork. That's why we created our Slagle Financial GPS, a step-by-step process that helps you build a custom blueprint for retirement. Whether you're focused on protecting your income, leaving a legacy, or simply gaining peace of mind, we'll walk with you every step of the way. Don't leave your future to chance. Schedule a visit with our team, and let's get you successfully to and through retirement.
Welcome back to the Chad Slagle Show. I'm Amy Sharp alongside the coach, Chad Slagle himself. Chad mentioned in our last segment this financial GPS. That's a big part of what they do every single day with their clients. How does this, break this down for us, how this actually helps your clients, people who come in and sit down with you, understand the true cost of retirement?
Well, Amy, when people think about retirement, the first question they ask is, how much is this going to cost? And it's a fair question, but it's actually the wrong place to start. Retirement isn't just about reaching a number. It's about knowing where you want to go, how much it takes to live that life, and how do you get there without running out of money, which is the key. So just like a GPS in your car, if you don't know the destination, the directions really don't matter.
I think about walking into a mall and like you go to the map, it says you are here. Where does the GPS start?
That's a good point. The first one, again, as we talked about before, is clarity. Before we talk investments or returns, we ask one simple question. What do you want retirement to look like? Do you want to travel 3 times a year? Do you want to help with grandkids' college? Do you want to buy a lake house? Start a small business or hobby? Retirement today is not about slowing down. It's about freedom. Your lifestyle determines your retirement cost, not the other way around.
I love that you're having these conversations with your clients. What comes next?
Well, after clarity, step 2 is knowing your number. And we figure out how much income you need coming in every month. What income sources you'll have, like Social Security, pensions, could be rental income, maybe farm income, how these sources adjust for inflation, and most important of all, the gap. The gap is what your savings have to produce month after month for the rest of your life. Not a guess, not a rule of thumb. The key is a real written retirement plan, which is key. Not one that you have in your head, but one that you actually have on paper. So when the market starts to fluctuate, we don't react with emotion, we react with logic.
Chad, you spoke just like a real coach right then. You slowed your words down, a real written plan. And I know that was intentional because this is actually where a lot of people get stuck, right?
Absolutely, they do. Without a plan, people either spend too little because they're afraid that they're going to run out of money, which you don't want to have that, or be in that situation in retirement, or take too much risk trying to chase returns. Neither one leads to a confident retirement. Confidence comes from clarity, not performance, which a lot of people mistake that. They want to watch the market go up and down, and that's not where you want to be in retirement.
Okay, speaking of the market, let's talk about risk. There are risks out there that people don't always see coming. They can really come from all different directions. What do we need to be looking out for?
Well, that's step 3. Understanding the real threats we look at, like market downturns, which we just talked about. Inflation is a big one. Healthcare and long-term care. Taxes, and of course fees that silently eat away at your savings and your returns. And when you're working, losses can be made up with time and paychecks. In retirement, losses hurt more because you're taking income at the same time and the market may be going down. That's called sequence of returns risk. So we stress test and plan and ask, what if the market drops? Does your income still show up? That's the key. We don't want to have to react again when the market goes up or down. We want to have a game plan. It doesn't matter if the market goes up or down. It doesn't matter what inflation is doing, and it doesn't matter what interest rates are doing.
After that stress test, is that where it all starts to kind of come together?
Absolutely. Step 4 is that written retirement plan that I slowed down and talked about, right? It shows where your income comes from. It shows how long it lasts, hopefully the rest of your life, no matter how long you live, how your money is positioned for safety, growth, and hopefully legacy of children or grandchildren, maybe even your churches, and how taxes impact your income, and how the plan adapts as life changes. When people see this on paper, the fear goes away. They're not afraid of retirement. It's not a scary thing anymore. And they stop asking, am I going to be okay? And start asking, what do I want to do next? And start getting excited about retirement. You work 30 to 40 years to get to this point. You should be excited about all the big things that are out there waiting for you.
And that right there is very powerful. When you can have that feeling of letting your shoulders down, big smile comes over your face. What a great moment.
Absolutely. The Slagle Financial GPS exists for one reason, to help people win in retirement. Retirement isn't destination. It's not a destination, it's a journey. And having the right GPS makes all the difference in the world. Because when you know what it costs and you know how to cover it, that's when retirement becomes fun.
And I want you to, we got just a little bit of time left here. I want you to just give us a little bit of a sense of what that first visit looks like when they come in and sit down and start working on that written plan, their GPS.
Well, of course, it's just like when you get in your car today. You put in where you're at, where you want to go, and it tells you step by step, turn by turn, exactly how to get there.
And some cars drive for you, Chad, so even better.
Well, I don't know if I want to get in one of those cars yet. But yeah, so our meeting process is the same thing. The first thing we have is what we call our discovery meeting. We want to sit down and see where you are. Do you want to retire in 3 to 5 years? Did you just retire, or have you been retired for 10 years? And then also, as we talked about earlier, what does retirement look like for you? What kind of lifestyle do you want to have in retirement? Do you want to take your kids on one big trip every year, your kids and your grandkids, and you want to save up for that? Do you want to help them maybe with college? So you can help them, you can see them enjoy that money while you're still here as opposed to when you pass away. So really it's just about discovering where you're at, where you want to go. And then once we know that, then we can tell you turn by turn, step by step, exactly how to get there. And we can also show you the pitfalls to avoid when it comes to retirement, because retirement is a living, breathing thing. Life happens. You constantly have to be changing with it. And that's what a financial GPS does when you get in it. And there is a roadblock. What does it do? It tells you a reroute or a detour to take to get there. So that's what we're able to do for our clients.
Yeah, you're right alongside them their entire time. And you're getting to kind of enjoy their fun too,
Absolutely,
aren't you?
yeah.
Yeah, that's the best part about it. All right, very good. Great insights as always. When we come back, we're going to dive deeper into one of the biggest threats to retirement confidence. That's fees and how they can silently drain your nest egg. Stay with us. The Chad Slagle Show continues right after this.
Your dream car, the open road, and freedom. It's just one turn away. Or so you thought. Even when things look good, hidden problems can ruin your plans. Think of your retirement. At first glance, your investments might seem solid, but under the hood, what kind of risk are you exposed to? And what about taxes, income, healthcare costs? Don't let your retirement dreams stall out. Act now and get your free risk analysis to help keep you in the retirement fast lane.
Retirement planning shouldn't feel like guesswork. I'm Chad Slagle, and that's why we created the Slagle Financial GPS, our step-by-step guided planning system. It's not a cookie-cutter approach, it's a customized roadmap built around your goals, designed to bring clarity to your investments, protect what matters most, and help you navigate tax and income with confidence. Take the first step, come meet our team, and discover how the Slagle Financial GPS can guide you to and through retirement. Call today, your future starts now.
In life, it's good to know what you have to work with. Knowing how many nails you have before building that birdhouse. Knowing how much sugar you have before starting to bake the cake. But do you know how much income you'll be able to count on in retirement? Retirement savings are one thing, but knowing how those savings can turn into income is another. Are you confident you know what your retirement income will look like? Call our team and get a free income analysis today. We can show you what you might expect for income in retirement. Find out now so you won't have to wonder later. Call for your free analysis today.
Welcome back to the Chad Slagle Show. I'm Amy Sharp here with the coach, Chad Slagle. Good to have you back with me. Before we went to the break, we talked about why the 80% rule doesn't always work for retirement. And now we're going to shift to something that can quietly derail even a good plan, and that is fees. Why is it so important, Chad? We're not always prepared for these fees. Why do we need to know what we're paying for these fees in retirement?
Well, Amy, first of all, fees are one of the biggest and most overlooked threats to a successful retirement. Most people think, well, it's just a percent or two, no big deal. They really don't have any idea. But over a 20 or 30-year retirement, those fees can cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars. And the problem is a lot of people don't even know what they're paying, or that they're paying multiple layers of fees, or, Chad, I have an idea of what I'm paying. Really, they have no idea what they're paying in fees, which is a huge unknown that you have to educate yourself on what they are and be comfortable with those.
You mentioned multiple layers. What do you mean by that?
Well, a lot of folks think, my advisor charges 1%. But then the advisor puts their money into a mutual fund or maybe some variable annuities or other products that have their own fees. So you have what's called a wrap account. So now you have advisor fees, you have fund fees, you have management fees, you may have life insurance costs, and sometimes rider or other insurance fees. And it adds up fast. And most statements don't make it easy to see. A lot of that's hidden. So again, it's just like when you buy a car, you can pay sticker price or invoice price. You have to educate yourself. And I'm not saying you shouldn't pay fees. I'm saying you should know what those fees are and be comfortable with it.
Yeah, when you use the word hidden, that right there kind of alerts our ears. People's shoulders go up a little bit. We really could be paying more in fees than we ever would realize it.
Absolutely. Here's the kicker. Fees come out whether the market is up or whether the market is down. If the market has a great year, you pay fees. If the market has a bad year, guess what? You still pay fees. So those fees, means it could be slow your growth. They could increase your retirement cost and put more pressure on your savings when you're taking income out.
If our viewers were paying attention earlier in the show, you used this analogy, wholesale versus retail. Can that and how does it apply to this?
Well, really, Amy, it's the same idea. Most people don't realize there's a retail way and a wholesale way to invest really in anything that you do. Retail is higher fees, less transparency. Wholesale is lower cost, more efficiency. So you can own the same investments. The difference is how much you're paying to own them. And in retirement, keeping costs low is just important as returns, sometimes even more important.
So these fees, they matter more in retirement than our working years. I think I know the answer to this, but why so?
Well, great question. When you're working, you've got time and paychecks to offset those mistakes. In retirement, you're doing two things at the same time. A lot of times you're taking money out because we live in a pensionless society, and your portfolio is still subject to market moves and fees. So if you got the high fees, you need higher returns just to break even.
Let's talk about Slagle Financial, the importance that your team does, the work that your team does every single day. And I want you to kind of walk us through how you help people understand these fees and really get clarity when it comes to fees.
Well, I was a coach for a long time, played football.
X's and O's, right?
X's and O's, right? So it starts with coaching and it starts with education. And we walk people through what they own, what they're paying, how much risk they're really taking, and we call it stress testing that portfolio. Once people see the numbers, not guesses, not assumptions, they can make smarter decisions with their hard-earned dollars, money that's taken them 30 to 40 years to accumulate.
And this is all part of the financial GPS that we talked about earlier, right? How does that all work in there?
Well, it is. You can't build a confident retirement plan if you don't know your income needs. How much income do you need coming in? What are your risks? And your costs, and fees are one of those silent drains that can turn a good plan into a frustrating retirement if they're not addressed properly.
Okay, as any good coach would sit down with their team after a practice or a game, mostly a game, What's the big takeaway that we really want to send home with our viewers when we talk about all that we've covered today on the show?
Well, first of all, you worked hard for your money. Just think about how hard, you would, if you lost $20 to $30 or $40,000, just think about over your lifetime how hard you had to work for that money. Retirement is about keeping more of what you've earned, not just chasing the ups and downs of the market. And when you understand your fees, you put yourself back in control, and that's how you win in retirement, by clarity and being in control of your retirement, not relying on if the market's going to go up, or if it goes down, then I also have to make changes, because that's not a fun retirement that you want to live in.
Chad, you've used the phrase winning in retirement several times. This goes back to your book as well. I think we'd be remiss if we didn't bring that into this conversation, because you worked hard on it, obviously.
Yes.
That book, it takes hours, I know. But so many of these topics that we talk about on this show can go right back to that book. It's the playbook, really.
It is the playbook. A lot of what I learned about life and in our firm the past 30 years, I didn't learn in a classroom. I learned in a locker room and on a field. And a lot of that, we bring to the financial planning world. And it's really about having structure, building a plan, and following that plan. And when something happens, you don't necessarily deter from that plan. You want to make sure that you get back on track again so you can be successful in retirement.
Okay, this has been a great show. We've got more to come. When we return, we'll wrap things up with the Coach's Corner, where Chad will walk you through some steps that people can take next to feel more confident about their retirement plan. Stay with us. The Chad Slagle Show continues right after this.
More is usually better, but not when it comes to taxes in retirement. Tax rates might seem high right now, but these could be the lowest rates you ever see again. Think how that could impact your retirement. The good news is there are strategies you can take advantage of now to help lower your tax bill later and help get the most out of what you've saved for retirement. But don't delay. Time is limited and rates could rise soon. So act now to get your free tax analysis. Help uncover hidden savings and optimize your income in retirement. Take action and claim your free tax analysis now.
They say knowledge is power. Whatever you're doing, whatever your goals are, you'll probably never say you know too much. The same is true with retirement. The more you know, the more prepared you'll be for everything in store. And we've made it easy to get started. This free offer is packed with knowledge to help answer some of retirement's biggest questions. It's our gift to you. Don't miss out on this opportunity. Act now and claim your free offer today.
Retirement planning shouldn't feel like guesswork. I'm Chad Slagle, and that's why we created the Slagle Financial GPS, our step-by-step guided planning system. It's not a cookie-cutter approach, it's a customized roadmap built around your goals, designed to bring clarity to your investments, protect what matters most, and help you navigate tax and income with confidence. Take the first step, come meet our team and discover how the Slagle Financial GPS can guide you to and through retirement. Call today, your future starts now.
Welcome back to the final segment of the Chad Slagle Show. Now it's time to turn it over to the coach for his final thoughts. Chad, the floor is all yours.
Thank you, Amy. If there's one thing I hope people take away from today's show, it's this. Retirement doesn't have to be scary, but it does require a plan. So many families come into our office with the same questions. Am I going to be okay? Do I have enough money to last the rest of my life? These questions are on everyone's mind when they think about stepping into retirement. And honestly, it's natural to worry. You've worked hard, made sacrifices, and you want to make sure you don't just survive in retirement, you want to enjoy it. The good news is those questions have answers when you stop guessing and start planning. It's not about luck, it's about having the right strategy tailored to you and your life. Let me leave you with 3 key takeaways from today's show. First, retirement is about a lifestyle, not a rule of thumb. For years, we've heard all about the so-called 80% rule, that you'll need about 80% of your pre-retirement income to get by. The reality is that number doesn't fit most retirements today because everyone's vision for their next chapter is different. Some people want to travel the world. Others want to spoil their grandkids, volunteer in their community, or pick up new hobbies. For some, spending actually rises in the early years of retirement when you're healthy and you finally have time for those bucket list adventures. I always tell clients, when you retire, every day is Saturday, or at least it can feel that way. Saturdays are when we go out, see friends, shop, try a new restaurant, or spend on hobbies. Those costs add up, and unlike during your working years, there's no steady paycheck coming in. Your lifestyle, your dreams, your needs, even the unexpected things life throws your way determines your retirement cost, not some generic formula. That's why it's so important to look honestly at how you want to live and build a plan around that. Second, fees and risk can silently derail a good plan. This is one of the biggest topics we discuss, and for good reason. Fees are often hidden, layered into products, tucked away in the fine print, or simply misunderstood. Over the years, even a 1% fee can take a massive bite out of your savings, especially when compounded with market volatility. Imagine you spent decades building up your retirement portfolio, and then a significant portion gets siphoned away just from high fees or unnecessary risk. I've met people who didn't realize how much they were paying until we sat down together and looked at their statements line by line. The shock is real, and risk isn't just about losing money in a crash. It's about the anxiety of not knowing if your nest egg will last. If your investments are swinging wildly with the market while you're trying to take income, or if you're exposed to outsized losses, that can add so much stress to what should be a rewarding time of life. Retirement is about keeping more of what you've earned when you know what you own, what you're paying, and how much risk you're taking. You put yourself back into control of your future instead of leaving it up to chance or hidden cost. Third, clarity. Clarity creates confidence. If there's a common thread between those who retire stressed and those who retire confident, it's simple. They have a written plan they understand, not just a collection of statements or a vague idea, but a clear, actionable plan that answers the big questions. How much income will I have each month? Where is that income going to come from? And where are my actual costs, including taxes and health care? What happens if something unexpected, like a market downturn or a health event, comes up? When you have answers to these questions on paper, the fear starts to fade away. It's no longer a question of, will I be okay, but what will I do next? You'll start looking forward, planning trips, taking up new projects, or giving back to your community. Secure in the knowledge that your essentials are covered, I can tell you the peace of mind from having this clarity, knowing you're prepared for both the expected and the surprises, is truly life-changing. Retirement isn't a destination, it's a journey. And like any meaningful journey, it's one you want to really experience, not rush through or be anxious about the whole way. Having the right GPS, a plan that is as unique as you are, can help you avoid the wrong turns, weather the occasional storm, and keep you moving in the right direction. So my advice, plan well, stay disciplined, and remember, this chapter of your life can be the most fulfilling of all. When you take control, ask questions, and get clear on your path, you really can win in retirement. If you'd like some help, that's what we're here for. Come meet with me and my team for a no-cost, no-obligation review and see how prepared you truly are for the retirement that you deserve. You don't have to have everything organized. You don't have to understand the complicated financial jargon. It'll be a simple, casual conversation about you, your family, your future, and your retirement goals. Don't wait. Reach out today to get started. Thanks for watching our show this week. Amy, back to you.
Well said, Chad. Such a great way to wrap up today's show. Thank you for joining us on the Chad Slagle Show, and we'll see you next time right here, coaching you to and through retirement.